Hey, I'm Roland with Mobile Geeks, and we're right here at the ASUS booth at Computex 2014, and look what we found. Does that look any familiar to you? Not really, right? So it's a new transformer design from ASUS, and that finally is the ASUS Transformer Book T200. So that's their new 2-in-1 detachable laptop. That's pretty much the same as the T100TA, but this guy is an 11.6-inch model. Let's look at the device itself. So we have an 11.6-inch screen on here running at 1366 by 768. So no full HD on here. They're saying it's going to be too expensive if you put in a full HD panel right here. Otherwise, it's also pretty much the same specs as on the smaller version. So we have a 1.46 gigahertz Intel Atom Z3775, that is, that goes up to 2.13 gigahertz, I think, or maybe even higher, I don't really know that. That's a quad-core x86 combined with 2 gigs of RAM. You get a 64 gigs or 32 gig SSD storage. There is going to be a 500 gigabyte hard drive optional in the dock right here. Is there a battery in the dock? Did you know that? I don't think there's a battery in the dock. So no extension of the battery life on this guy. So the battery up here should be pretty much the same as on the other one. And so you get a 2-cell 38 watt-hour battery up top. And the whole thing is, let me just get this off the dock right here. I can see already that the hinge design has been a bit improved. So they've done something back here where they removed the backplate back here, and it feels very, very sturdy, and it's easy to use that button right there. So they've definitely improved that compared to the T100 that was available so far. The dock still feels pretty heavy, so I kind of doubt that there's no battery in there because it's 750 grams, including the 500 gig hard drive in here. Let's talk about the tablet now. We have, again, 11.6-inch screen in here, 1366 HD display, which looks pretty good. I think the resolution is kind of low for a screen this big, but it's still positioned in the low-end sector of the market, so it's probably going for lower price points around 400 to 500 USD, or maybe even below that. Let's take a quick tour around. We have a micro SD card slot right there. That's a micro USB port, micro HDMI out right there. We have a headset jack right there, and they finally integrated a separate charging port back here, so you can't only charge this through the USB, which makes it easier to charge this at a quicker pace. Down here we have the docking ports. These are the ports for the hinges. That's the docking port for the data stuff. Nothing on the left, nothing on the top, but if you look in this corner up here, you'll see that that's the power button right there. We have the volume marker right there and the Windows button on the back, so they haven't integrated it down here on the front. You get 2 speakers on the back. There's one right there and one right there, and a 5-megapixel camera on this device, which the T100TA didn't have so far. The back is kind of, they have this typical circular pattern that you know from their other devices, for example the Ultrabooks. It's covered in a matte plastic finish. The back doesn't bulge or anything, so it feels pretty sturdy. It is kind of a heavy device because this whole thing weighs in at 750 grams, so not the thinnest and not the lightest tablet part right here. Let's take a quick look again at the dock right here. It feels very heavy, so I have to say, I guess there's a battery in there, but this can't be only the hard drive, but it could be also just weights to make sure it doesn't tilt over when you put in the tablet. Let's put it down right here and see that is a huge trackpad down here. The clicking point, or the click point, is pretty good actually. It doesn't flex and it feels much more sturdy and well built than the keyboard from the T100. Look at the ports, and I'm surprised they actually have integrated a Ethernet port on the docks. So the specs that we found earlier are definitely accurate on that. So they have integrated an Ethernet port, which is kind of weird for a device like this. We have a 3.0 USB port right there. That looks like access to the hard drive. Yeah, that's a hard drive label there. I don't know if you can actually put in a hard drive yourself if you buy this off the shelf without it. There's a standard USB 2.0 port right there, and that's pretty much it. Now let's take a quick comparison with this guy, because just to give you a size comparison on this, so that's the T100 in the front and the T200TA in the back right here. So the 200 definitely gets a lot bigger than the T100TA. So that's been a quick look at ASUS T100, T200TA that's just been announced, or not even been announced at Computex. They didn't show it off earlier, but it's definitely coming out from August. At least that's what I heard in Europe. And prices should be starting out at just under 400 euros for the lowest end model. I was rolling with Mobile Geeks, checking out the T100, T200TA at Computex 2014. See you later. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel and give us a like, and goodbye.